at a certain point, you have to remember that they're kids, and there's only so much information they're gonna absorb. How many times do you ask them to clean the room? How many times do they clean the room? You got to tell them 48 times for them to clean it once. It's the same thing when we're teaching them hockey.
All right, Eric.
We're back. We're back. I believe July was our last episode.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
As I was saying previously.
Yeah.
Before we interrupted.
Got interrupted.
Or got interrupted.
By our
senior
boss.
So yeah, lots has been happening. Lots has been happening. I was saying to you, I'm going to say it again because I think it's important. What I'm most looking forward to about getting back in the swing is that we get to talk once a week and stay up to date, because we don't get to talk a lot.
Yeah,
anymore.
Christine said that. How's Eric doing? I said good, I think, but we haven't had our normal conversation, so yeah, it'll be good. Touch base again, have some laughs.
Yeah,
get back dialed in again.
Yeah. So everybody's been asking. By the way, the amount of like messages, emails, DMs, people in person like seeing us at the rinks that have been asking like, well, what's going on is actually crazy. So it's actually been kind of wild. We're okay now, as everyone can see. The amount of people that were like, "Are you guys okay? Like, is everything okay?" It's actually kind of crazy to feel that from the community, I guess.
No, it is good because that just means that people value what we're doing. Yeah. The people that care, right? The people that care value what we're doing. It's great. Me and Eric didn't have anything between us. It was just like you had to make a shift, and is what it is. Just business stuff. It's all good.
Yeah. So let's give the people what they want. So the update as of July, our last episode, it would have been Charlie got drafted to Dallas, was getting ready to go to camp. We're in the middle of recruiting for the academy. Those are kind of like the big work related items. So then for you, what's the life update on your end?
Life update is today I'm getting a new vehicle because I'm sick and tired of putting kilometers on my big truck. So first time in about 20 years, I'm going to be zipping up a car.
Legit.
Yeah, zipping up a car and putting $50 in.
Actually, I've only ever known you to be driving a pickup.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm sick of paying for vehicles. So bought this one, picking it up today. I'm going to drive this hopefully till I go tits up. And then my wife can borrow it once in a while. I'm just sick of paying for cars.
Yeah.
I was picking up a car today. My life has been, been good working out, been a good steady diet of that. And then truly, I'm trying to, so you said Charlie drafted and all that stuff, and he had a great summer, just awesome summer, playing great hockey right now. Just trying to, he's got 13 games in, I think, this year. So this is going to be, without question, his last year of in the OHL. And he was named captain, and he is killing it. And I love watching him play, and I'm just trying to enjoy. I'm trying to get to every single game. I'm going to miss one or two. I'm just trying to enjoy watching the last year. And what's so awesome, because a lot of people can't necessarily say that, because you don't know. Like last year, he could have ended up in the American League or something this year. But now, and I was really actually happy that he didn't go to the American League this year, because I would have been happy for him, but then it would have been like, starting this grind over again, and it would have hurt me because I truly enjoy watching my kid play hockey. So now that I know that basically March or April or May, depending how deep they go, this is it. And then after that, I can take my little car, zip around to a couple places, and I can't watch him play anymore, except for on TV a little bit, or take a trip once every couple months, because now it's it'll be his job. And so I'm just really, really trying to enjoy it, which I'm going to be dad now, like, because every other dad asks this question, are you enjoying it? And yes and no, because with hockey becomes emotions. Like, you feel for your kid, you want your kid to have everything to be good, positive, and like, just nice, easy sailing, and it never is. So I'm loving watching him play. and I hate every time he has a little struggle, even though I know it's the best thing for him. So sometimes it puts me in a pissy mood. But that's hockey, Dad. But anyways, love watching my kid play. My hope, and this will be we're going to find out at the end of the year. So everybody check in with me at the end of the year. My hope is just the landscape of junior hockey is you could be the best player on a team and you can get traded. So my son has an opportunity. Like right now, as of the other day, he moved into, I think it's third or fourth all-time games played for Guelph Storm. I think it's another 10 or 15 games or something like that. Maybe, less than 20. He moves into third. A couple games after that, he moves into second. And then if he plays, he can miss 1 or 2 games, I think, because he missed some because he was in Dallas camp. So if he plays basically the rest of the season, with the exception of 1 or 2 games, he will be the number 1 all-time games played for the Guelph Storm.
Wild.
Now, I say that as, I'm not saying that bragging. I'm saying that like he loves his coach, loves the team, loves the city, loves everything about Guelph, says he's going to move there when he's done. And so my hope for him is that he gets to finish with one team. And, whether he hits that record or not, that's not the most important thing. But to me, because my wife and I were talking about this the other day, and I said, I don't understand some of these people. Is loyalty not a thing anymore? Because I had these, like, some guys saying, well, you got to get out, you got to win, got to this, got to that. And I'm like, well, how do you win if he doesn't stay? How about win with your team? And my wife made a good point. She goes, well, Sidney Crosby doesn't leave. I go, that's a really good point. Now, you could say he's not Sidney Crosby, and I would agree, but it's not the same thing. But to me, what playing your whole career as Sidney Crosby did, playing your whole career for one team, what you have to understand when you do that is, like, it doesn't mean you won every year. It doesn't mean everything was perfect. Like, life happens in a 4 or 5 year period. So there's ups and there's downs, and there's good and bad. And there's great coaches and asshole coaches, and good teammates and bad teammates, and good years, bad years, all the stuff, emotional stuff. And to stick it out and to be loyal to me, I don't know. Says a lot to me, man.
That's kind of
because you could quit, right? Like when things aren't going perfect, what do most people do? Right? Like I just talked about that in our class this morning with in the not mental toughness, in the leadership class. So easy to have a good attitude when things are good. It's when things go shit or sideways or not your way is when you get tested. And to see my kid and others that played with him, that when things weren't great, they didn't say, get me out of here. They said, okay, let's dig deep and fix it. I love it. To me, that's a recipe for success in life. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Of a lot of the things that he's ever done with his life, I can say that's one thing that I'm very proud of. Just hope I hope for him he gets to finish there.
Yeah, I do too. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I love it.
So overall, life update good.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, things are great. I love what I'm doing. Like, I love what I'm doing. People ask all the time. I go, I don't have a lot of stress. I don't own a business anymore. I'm just a soldier here, and I want the best for the company, and I love it, and I love working with these kids. Wait, okay, so the finish. Because you asked me, right? I didn't ask you shit yet, right? To finish this to me was not even the cherry on the top, even better than that. What we're doing right now at BioSteel, because now it makes sense. So I got some people still asking, can we do a lesson? Can you do skating? Can you do this? It's like, once, 10 times? I don't have the ability to see you every day, to work with you on like 2-3 times a week. That makes sense. That I can see progress and all that stuff. Like, here, there's actually a purpose. You see them on a daily basis. You can see some progress. You can work with the attitude and all that stuff. Like, this encompasses everything. It's just, it's there's a reason to do this for me. Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So with that, like, at the academy stuff, you said you watched the Docu-series episodes. What do you think of those so far?
Well, I love it.
What a unique thing, eh?
In what way?
Like no, who does that? Like, there's no programs really do that. Like, I've seen a couple like episodes. Like, I think a couple like college teams have had like kind of something like that.
Yeah, NHL teams do the
Some of the
docu-series. Yeah.
But like for what we are, it's like it's pretty unique. And like I don't know, I don't really know what I was expecting it to be or look like, but for like Connor and like the rest of the media team guys, it's actually kind of crazy. Like it's cool to be a part of.
Shows a lot of things. I was just saying to Dan who owns BioSteel, he was just in here talking to us, and I was just saying he didn't know I wasn't from here, and I moved here. I moved here from Sudbury. I told him, I said I moved here because I didn't tell him that, but I moved here because I always loved Windsor. And I love the fact that you're right across from Detroit. And it was similar to my hometown in Sudbury being like it's a blue collar town. We had mining and forestry up north. Down here, it's the car and all the spin-offs of the tool shops and stuff. It's hardcore. You go down Sudbury, downtown Sudbury, downtown Windsor, you got same rough. But it's good. And I love it. So yeah, so there's no there's pockets of this area where you're a little bit more, high class stuff, but it's like there's grit to it, and that's what I liked about Windsor. And when we put that docu-series together, it's the truth, right? Like where Charlie Boxes is like when the introductory to the thing, it's like how it's great and stuff. Well, that's where my kid Boxes down there, and it's like
I did too, man. It's like it's that gritty. That's that character part of the town that we live in. Like it's a
great.
Cool thing.
It's great. I like that, and it just shows like the side part that I was saying where there's levels to this is like you don't have to be from New York City to be an artist. You don't have to be from LA to be something. You don't have to come from a big town. You don't have to come from anything. The guys that we have here are guys from Windsor, Ontario. Like Connor, that is the what do you call him? The engineer of this, the director, the curator of it, whatever. I don't know. Bartender. Khakis in a BioSteel shirt all the time. He's a beauty, right? With his voice, just a chill guy. But it comes out. You put good people together, you get good results, and and then Dan from BioSteel, what a vision this guy's got. It's awesome.
It's cool. So I guess that's kind of the first big one was the docuseries. So if people haven't seen that, it's super cool. It's like literally the story that we got going on here, and like that's. You want to see what we've been.
There's no acting either. It's just real.
It's legit real. It's cool. Have you seen the app? So they made the BioSteel Teams app. Have you been through it at all? Do you have it up on your phone?
I haven't had to. I haven't had to.
I'm gonna get it set up for you because it's actually crazy. So I was talking with Dan about it like when it was first an idea that he wanted to do, and so talking through like a lot of the features, the design of it, what he wants it to be, and how it plays into the greater network, I guess, like the BioSteel network moving forward. It's actually kind of crazy. So we have between BioSteel, the nutrition company, BioSteel Sports Academy as more or less the testing ground for a lot of the stuff that we're doing, the docu-series, the BioSteel Teams app, and then with the podcast kind of putting a voice to all of it. It's actually like kind of a crazy network. So if you haven't, the cool thing about the app, it's like a team management app for people that haven't seen it, and it's free. So you can go on and use it. It's got like your chats, it's got your schedule, it's got all kinds of different features that are just useful for housing whatever your team is, whatever you guys are doing. And the actual technology on it and the features that it's crazy seeing it go from like beta testing, nothing idea to beta testing to now it's actually rolled out and the teams can use it. And it's super intuitive. Like we all of our teams jumped over to it like at the start as soon as it was launched, and it's like was the easiest thing ever. There's no like ridiculous like trying to transfer over stuff from any other platforms or anything. It was like right away we could all jump on. You could share documents, you could share images and videos and all that stuff. And this is a sports nutrition company, man. It's like, and it's turning into like all of these different elements that are, it's just cool to be a part of because I get fired up talking about it because I get to be in like a lot of the ground level stuff that's going on behind it. So it's kind of cool.
It, man.
I gotta get you set up on it though because it's actually it's kind of sweet.
I love it. Yeah, now I got to use another electronic.
Yeah, another electronic. And then the last thing I guess with the teams, like what are your thoughts with kind of how things have started off with the teams that we got here with the girls, and the two boys teams to start?
Great question.
Yeah.
So awesome. Like number one, awesome. We had the girls, and whoever, a couple teams started off with a bang, like really good. And, the first leadership thing I had with them, I said, settle down because the reality kicks in and you're either you think you're good or you're not, whatever. So anyways, kind of went exactly the way I thought it would. Not that I'm a freaking genius, but it went the way I thought it would and reality kicks in. So what do I think? I love it. I love the teams. I think for the most part, we got good teams, especially for year one of this. Like really good teams. The girls' team has been a pleasure. Now, if I'm going to be honest, girls, don't be mad at me. I've never wanted to coach girls. There's reasons, but like just I've never done it, never really wanted to. But I am going to tell you, I enjoy it. What the girls have done, and as I've explained how this happened, what the girls have done is when they started off the season, when they started at the end of the summer with me, and I'm like, wow, can we make one pass anywhere? Can we make it a hard pass? Can we do whatever? And I just started with fundamentals with them, and I tried to keep it positive, but I would shake my head going, man. But after, I would say 2-3 weeks, I saw a little bit. And then there was a piece in that 2-3 weeks where it was like, okay, you guys are at an academy like this. We got to get through. We're cool. Like, we own the building, whatever. Right. And then Mary whacked them a couple times, and we were honest with them a couple times, and I showed them when I was disappointed, what I was happy in, but I'm very encouraging with them. And then it kind of clicked, and they've been very, very good. Their level has grown big time, and their attitude. Like now, I could see one thing is that this is maybe not the first time, but like a first time consistently where someone believed in them outside of Mary or their coach, and being in this place here and being around this environment, they've it's very, very good. The boys teams are like awesome. Your team is a great group of kids. They're U18 for a reason. So what I mean by that is they're at this level for a reason. There are a lot of really good hockey players that are missing this or this. This might be an attitude, might be not a bad attitude. I'm just saying missing little elements of their game that they just need to get better at. And that's why they're at this level. It's not a knock, right? It's just the reality. People get to the level they're at because the kids in the draft year, which is that called U16? Yeah, good team. But again, it's like they could be better, and it's just like finding consistency, and that's what we harp every day. What they're going to find out as they move to junior or the next level is what they've heard on a daily basis here is going to become a reality when they get to the next level. It's like the little details of the game, like let's just say dusting the puck off when you're shooting. Like, okay, now it's going to be a real thing. It's playing away from the puck. They're going to hear it and they go, okay, Andy, Eric, and Rich, and they've been telling me that for a year. And now I get it. And that's sometimes the only way. But anyways, great experience. Awesome. I am proud to be part of this.
Yeah. So I think this is going to start to kind of tail into, I wanted to talk about coaching the youth level in general kind of today, because now I would say going in my third year of coaching U18 now, I'd say I'm like officially a coach now. I feel like it counts. So it's so interesting to me seeing the dynamics of what it takes to do a good job. First of all, what it takes to actually understand how to coach, first of all. Second is what it takes to do a good job as a coach. Third, what the expectations are for someone who's coaching still a youth level. Like, even though we kind of treat our kids, it's almost like our model is almost like a hybrid where they're almost like we treat them a little bit like they're in junior, but they're not still. So it's still youth, and seeing what the expectations are from, the parents, the players, and hearing the feedback, and then getting it from both ends. Cause I'm actually on the bench doing the job. And then I also feel the feedback on what the sentiment is for the people experiencing it and how all those dynamics kind of play. It's super interesting in the position that we're in this year, where we actually have some pretty good teams. We're having some success. Everybody's still on their own development track, and it's not going to be perfect, and kids have a lot to learn, and the coaches have a lot to learn, and all that stuff. So kind of what are your, just I guess to start, your general thoughts, philosophies on being a coach for a youth hockey team, and let's say a high level youth hockey team. So that would be your AAA's, whatever U18 draft year, a little bit older, kind of in our realm, and just your general kind of thoughts on that.
Just general thoughts on being a coach at that level. What I see, and we've talked about this, is when people coach hockey, and we're just talking the coach's perspective.
Whatever, however you want to take it.
Okay. I think what we see is that you're in a position coaching youth hockey at any level. I think what can happen really quickly is that you think you have to coach. Like what I mean by that is overcoach, and I think that a lot of people are guilty of it. And I said this here, right? I said I think we're overcomplicating something that's fairly simple. What we have to understand is that they are not junior and pro players. They're going to make a ton of mistakes. You're going to make a ton of mistakes. We're not professional coaches right now, so. And with coaches, you can overcompensate. Lack of knowledge sometimes makes you have that imposter syndrome, where you come in and you got to say the words and sound like you're really smart. So instead of saying get in front of the net, it's like you use the term net fronts presence plus all these fancy. You don't need to do that. They're kids. So number one for me is like, try not to overcoach. You need to know, have a clue what you're doing, but don't overcoach. So to back that up a bit is like, let's make sure that we're having fun. Let's have some freaking fun, man. Like that's one of the things that I see. The biggest things is that when things get too tight, kids can't play, coaches are too serious. It's like, it's no fun. Let's have some fun. Now, winning is fun. Being good and accomplishing the goals are fun, but we're allowed to have some fun. We're right. We're 13, 15, 17, 18-year-old kids. We're not pros. We need to have some fun. And I think when you incorporate some fun in, like not incorporate it, it should be fun. So from there, you do as a coach need to have something. So I'm not minimizing that. So have a plan, stick to your guns. You get the message across to your kids, let them make mistakes a little bit, have enough knowledge to correct it, but just be prepared, have practice plans, have an idea of what you're going to do, and execute it the best you can. The next thing I would say is understand that no matter what you do, how you do it, doesn't matter. I was the best coach in the world, except for like one person on the team, like a couple times. And so I'm not the best coach in the world anymore. But for a period of time, I was the best coach in the world. But that one person, you never make them happy. Another time, I was the best coach in the world because for half the team. And the other ones, that's what you hear. You hear the shit ones. You hear the complaining and all that stuff. And it's like, stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. Stick to your guns. And then hopefully, you can give the kids a break on some of their mistakes or sometimes their lack of effort. Hopefully, the kids can give you honesty, right? Tell them when you're not your best, and hopefully a parent can understand that, like, you're a youth coach, man.
Yeah,
like it's not the NHL.
You said. I want to go back to the overcoaching thing, but you said stick to your guns. How do you balance the stick to your guns versus fielding the feedback? So like, I'll just give you my perspective. This is just my way of doing things. I'm not saying this is the right way. I am a over communicator, probably to a fault. I want to hear the feedback. I'm open to talking to any parent all the time about whatever they want. It doesn't matter to me. I'll always find the time to hear what they have to say and all that stuff. I also know when to draw the line, right? I know when to draw the line, but I want that feedback because I want to hear. And maybe it's because I've been a head coach for 3 years. Like that's not a long time. So like I want the feedback. I want to know how I can get better. Maybe that's why, but and that's my way of doing it. So how would you draw the line of stick to my guns, I have a plan, this is what I want to do, versus making modifications based on feedback that you're hearing?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Like you can definitely listen to feedback, but is your feedback going against your philosophy? So that's my biggest thing with anything is it'd be like building these teams. What's the philosophy? Are we just having a team to ice a team? Are we having a team to win? Are we trying to make the best team that we can? Right. So if you don't have a philosophy, then anybody can sign up, and then what are you? Yeah. Right. So it's the same thing as coaching, right? Are you coaching for? You can do both, sort of, but are you coaching to develop or are you coaching to win? Those are two different philosophies, kinda. Right. So if your mandate and your philosophy is like I want to win, then you're coaching a certain way, and what happens is like everybody wants to be on board to the winning. On the winning side, right? Everyone wants to win, but at the expense of what? Is it my kid that doesn't get to play as much? Right. So are you playing 2 lines and 1 line sitting, or is there only 1 power play unit? So the expense of that's what I'm talking about, is stick to your guns. So if it's about winning philosophy, which if that's what your mentality is, it's fine. You could try to be a champ at everything you do. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's encouraged. Go win as many games as you can. Be a winner. But that comes at an expense of something, right? So if it's only to win, you're going to hear it from some parents. Right. And then trust me on this, even when you're given, like, if you're the kid that is like my number one guy, it's still never enough to the superstar's dad or the whatever. It's never enough. And then if you, God help you if you lose 1 or 2 games or tie or don't beat the shit out of someone, right?
Yeah.
I had that problem with when I was coaching at Bell Tire. We're the best team, and we tied Victory Honda. DeBrincat was on that team. And one of my parents just was, I can't believe. I'm like, are you kidding me? But that's what they wanted. They wanted to win. Yeah. So now if your philosophy is on development, that doesn't mean you can't win, but your philosophy is more on the development side. So you might sacrifice a win here and there for a lesson, or for maybe it's for whatever the development reasons are, right? So that's what I'm saying. So like when a parent comes down and says like, this development shit is horse shit, like we need to start winning some games, you know what you're about. Right. And that's what it's all about, right? You know what it's about. You signed up for this. This is what we said we were going to do. We're sticking to our guns. And then again, you can talk to them about, is it short term that you're looking at your hockey or long term? Yeah. Whatever. So anyways, that's what I mean by sticking to your guns. Like, what is your philosophy? Because you know what, like, to be quite honest with you, you're not, if your nature is to be like a competitive, can't lose type of guy at all costs in life. Like, there's players like that. Like that's why someone will take a 10-game misconduct or a suspension because they tried to take someone's head off, literally, because they were losing a game or something, right? So that person, if you tell them, okay, you're going to coach and you're going to just develop players, square peg, round hole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
You try to tell a guy that's so competitive, we're just going to develop. Don't worry about the wins and losses. Good luck. So if your nature is, I need to win, like, and that's my thing, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but there's an expense to that, right?
Yeah, because I think there's,
and vice versa.
There's a certain amount of like expectation on, that comes a lot of times. It'll come from the parents or the parent group, right? Because they are actually expecting more, which they probably don't even, most of the time. I'll say this, most of the time, this is just my opinion again, but most of the time they're not really in a position to judge whether there should be more or less of anything. Like, should there be more skills? Should there be more systems? Should there be more whatever? But everybody's going to have their opinion, and that's fine. But there's a certain amount of pressure that's going to come on youth coaches that, they want more. They want, and it'll skew towards that. It's overkill. Like, we're overdoing it. Like, how many practices can we have? How much video am I going to do? How many workouts can we have? How many times am I going to text them in the group chat with new systems to look at and videos to watch and all of this stuff? And at a certain point, you have to remember that they're kids, and there's only so much information they're going to absorb. How many times do you ask them to clean the room? How many times do they clean the room? You got to tell them 48 times for them to clean it once. It's the same thing when we're teaching them hockey. It's the same thing. I say the same things over and over. And like, the way that I am with my guys is, we have our systems. I have kind of like 2 or 3 of everything. And like, that's plenty. Like, that's more than enough, because they have enough trouble just executing that. Like, I don't need to bring in college level systems where we have 15 different forechecks and all of that to make them the most prepared possible, because they just can't absorb the information. But the parents, and I say this with all due respect, because they just, you don't know what you don't know, and I can appreciate that. But the parents are often the ones that are pushing, we should have some more of this. We should have more of this. Well, why do we have an off weekend? Why don't we have a game this weekend? And it never stops. And I'm not even necessarily talking about this from my own experience, although there's some of it that's from my own experience, but I just hear the sentiment. Like, I receive the feedback. I have my antennas up for the feedback, and as the coach, it's hard to not cave. I don't want to say it this way.
No, there's pressure.
Yeah, like
you hear something enough, you're gonna you start thinking, okay, maybe it's me. You do.
So so
You cave to that squeaky wheel.
so
You can.
and this is kind of the next part I wanted to get into is like I guess more directed at the parents now is like what are you actually expecting? For example, I am somebody who I would put myself at the extreme end of caring. Like I care a lot and I want to do the best possible job. I also have more than a full-time job outside of being a hockey coach, right? So like if I was not coaching the team that I coach right now, I got plenty to keep me busy, right? So I find myself, I even get like frustrated with myself sometimes because it's like I wish I had more time to I wanted, like when I think about when I played in university and how my coach was there, like I actually want to be like that. Like that's the way to do it. Or when I think about how Mac was with his team last year, it's like I want to be like that. There just isn't enough time, right? We hired Mac last year. He was a full-time coach. Like he was a coach. That is what he was, right? I'm not a full-time coach, right? That's part of my job, but I also have another job. So when I frame this out for the parents with whoever your coach is on your current youth hockey AAA team, it's like, what are fair expectations for this person that is coaching your team? Because on the one end, you can either go and say, I'm going to pay a salary of some sort to pay a person to be a full-time hockey coach for my 13 or 15-year-old or whatever in AAA, or I'm going to get somebody that maybe they get like a stipend, maybe they get a little bit of money to do something, but they have a job. Like they have something else that they have to go do. It's like how dedicated, how much work can they put in? How much time and effort and resources can they actually put into this? And is your expectation proportional to that? Am I making sense?
Totally. Yeah.
So then when it comes to I want to develop these kids the best that I possibly can, it's what actually does that mean in the context of us playing youth hockey with my kids? So what would you kind of frame it out for parents? Like what would you say to the parents, I guess, with all of that said, where does your mind go for the parents?
A million times I've said this. When you're in youth hockey, and there's a lot of ways we can go here. When you're in youth hockey, you're probably not getting the best coach in the world. Fair? Because if you have the best coach in the world, he'd probably be making $8 million in the National Hockey League or in Russia or Sweden, something like that. They're coaching at a professional level. The next tier of coaches are going to be in the American League, college, and the CHL. They're excellent coaches for the most part. So if they're not available, what do you have next? Like you might have people with, like you said, jobs, other priorities, coaching their kid, a dad's trying to help, a guy like you that finished hockey, that you started working, you're back in the hockey world. It's like, okay, I'm going to coach a team now. Sufficient knowledge of hockey. You've played, you got scars on your face. That means you played at a high level, right? Like when people don't have scars on their face, right? Like when you look at me, it looks like I plucked my eyebrows with a freaking chainsaw, right? So you've played, you've been there, you know, were you perfect? No. Was I perfect? No. As players? Like, no. But that's the point. So when you start coaching, it's like when you have someone that hasn't played and their expectations are like, you should be doing this, this, and this, the X's and O's. It's like, it's not reality. Most coaches that you're going to get in youth hockey, and I'm saying this very confidently, most coaches that you get in youth hockey don't have a clue about hockey, or very little of a clue. Or if they do have a clue, some of them are really good, and then some of them don't know how to get a message across, or they're way over the top. So having a good coach in youth hockey, like a good hockey coach, my expectations, and I'm looking at Charlie's career, and it was like, fine. He didn't have a coach that played hockey. Never had a coach that played hockey, I think. Or the one in Bantam, the year before his draft, he played like AAA at some point, I think, maybe not. You're fine. They're fine. What is a good coach? Like, again, it's creating an environment where you're having some fun. It's youth hockey. You're serious, but you're not, like, it's not the end of the world. You can have some systems on the ice. You're playing some sort of system, some sort of looks like hockey a little bit with a, you know, hopefully he can hold you accountable and stuff, but you're not looking for the next Jack Adams winner. You're just looking for a guy that keeps the things between the lines. It's a good person, like in my opinion, good person that keeps it fun, because here's the thing. if he was a super coach, he'd be making money somewhere, or maybe just doesn't choose to. But if he was a really good coach, he'd be making money somewhere, and that's not what you're going to get. The thing is when you get to the next level, junior, and said this so many times, get to junior and pro and college and all those things. Now it matters. Now you're going to learn systems that are important. Like now it's if you don't pick up a back check or you don't drive the net, stick down, whatever the little things that each team has, if you don't do it, now it matters. In youth hockey, it doesn't. And you got such a variance of players as well, right? Like you coach, like you look at our teams here, and you get someone that's a dialed in, really intelligent about hockey. Like I was talking about Mason today, we're doing film. Every film session, this guy is 13 years old, and anytime it stops and whatever, and what's happening here, he's the first one. Okay, this. So I asked him today, I said, really impressive, man. Like really impressive. Really impressive. You're 13 years old and you can pick out what's going on. I said, do you watch a lot of hockey? Do you study? He goes, no, I just watch. And he gets hockey. So you get that player, and you got guys that are 18 years old, and it would happen here, and they go, I don't know. They don't. So who are you coaching to? You can coach to Mason, and if you say this, and this, he'll go, okay, I see what we're doing. And he could be on the ice with 4 other guys, and they don't have a clue. You got to tell them 40 times. So what is coaching? So in my estimation in youth hockey, I want them to work really hard. I want them to have fun. I want them to work really hard. I want them to move the puck. There's going to be, this is a forecheck. This is a neutral. This is a breakout. This is a power play. This is a penalty kill. This is face-offs. Like those are the basics of hockey. Okay, go execute them. And as a coach, you want them to try to clean it up and execute well.
Okay, so this goes, I'm going to just talk about myself coaching for a second, because this is the way that I at least think about it. Because I've thought of that exact thing on, like, there's variance on who is actually digesting the information. And like some people are getting it and some people aren't. And I see it in practice a lot. Like, for example, I go to run a drill and I got 2 or 3 drill busters for whatever drill. And then the 2 or 3 kids that always get exactly what I'm saying every time are just like, oh my God. And they're like getting frustrated because it seems so clear to them. But the other kids, it's not so clear and they need more teaching, or they come to the board right after I explain it and say, can you explain it again? And like all that kind of stuff. So you have to cater to different levels when you're playing in youth hockey. So for me, I always skew towards, this is basically my opinion. And for any parents that have seen me coach to this point, I basically go development first, meaning that everybody is going to get opportunities to do everything so that they can start to actually understand how to think about the game and what is happening and process different situations, right? That's my priority. I skew to winning when the games matter. So when it's a tournament, when it's finals, when it's important league game, like whatever it is, then I tighten it up, right? That's when I go with my, who I think of as my go-to power play, or who I think of as my go-to penalty killers, or tighten the bench, or double shift, lines that have had a good shift back to back, like that.
There's a reward system.
Yeah, right.
Reward system for listening, reward system for getting it, and reward system for like the give a shit meter, all those things, man. Like execution. There's a reward for being a good player when it matters. Sure. And then there's also not a punishment, but there is consequences for when you are the same guy every time we do a drill, you don't get it because maybe you don't get it, or we talked about this. I've asked someone, went to one of the teachers. I said, does this person have a learning disability? I said it because remember, what's his name? He was Sopel. Brett Sopel sent us a message. Right, yeah. He said, because we were talking about this one day, he said some people have a learning disability and they cannot understand. And I said, that's a really good point. So I took that and I really put it in my head. Like I was very sensitive to that. This kid gets every drill, everything wrong, every single time, every single day, every single drill, every time. And then when he gets it right, he gets it wrong again. So, what was I saying though? There's something about,
like when I was talking about coaching to different kids that have different abilities.
Like if you get it, I think I'm on this. So there's a difference between having a disability where you don't understand, but when it's the same people all the time and you are showing a drill and stuff, that's when I snap and they're talking, they're looking at each other talking and they're looking at something else and then they don't get the drill. Should be a consequence to that. Yeah.
And that's exactly how I am. It's the consequence will come in those games. And I don't even like saying it as a consequence. It's like sometimes it's a consequence, but sometimes it's another guy just earned it more today, And then I always go back to, on the the next game that we have that maybe isn't as important, I go right back to everybody's going. I more or less roll the lines. Everybody rolls like some power play and some PK because I know that for these guys to progress to the next level, which is what they say they want to do, it actually doesn't matter that much if we win all the games this year. If we win every single game all the time, it actually doesn't really matter that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you think so, eh? Do you think I'm being combative here?
I don't know.
I know. I like it.
I like where
I gave you the furry eyebrow and I pointed at you and I said, yeah, but no. But what I was going to say is, I know just by you making that statement that people are going to say, no, winning matters. Being on the best team matters. Let me prove something to you right now. My son played on the 19th place Guelph Storm last year. They were young. They were in games and they were right there, but they weren't the best team. They were really, really young. So my son being on a young team shouldn't have been drafted, especially as a 19-year-old. It's not supposed to happen, but he got drafted. So there's the theory.
Okay, so adding to that, because I had an example too, one of the 2009 age group, very strong age group. Last year, one of the AAA teams, they were 4th in Ontario. Okay, so one of the best teams you're going to find. Okay, just how many kids got drafted off that team? Do you know?
6 or 7?
7 kids.
Yeah.
Not 17.
Right.
And that's one of the best teams that exists for the age group.
And they weren't all first rounders.
No. So in the whole draft, 15 rounds, the 4th best team that exists in Ontario out of however many hundreds of teams, there was 7 kids, not 17 kids. Right? So when we're talking about actual development and advancement, it doesn't have to be that like we're judging this based on how many draft picks we have or whatever it is. And I know that, right? And I know that because it doesn't matter how good of a job I do at coaching or how good the players are that I have on my team. I'm not going to get 17 out of 17 or 20 out of 20 drafted, go to camp and make their OHL team. It's not going to happen. That just does not exist, right? So when we're thinking about what the coach is doing with the team, what the results could be for your kid, or what the process should look like throughout the year, it's important to have some of that management in your mind of like what the coach is trying to do and how they're trying to do it. And so for me, when I think about what I'm trying to do as a coach and like my own philosophy and what I think of how to operate the team, I'm coming at it from like that kind of lens. And there's going to be problems with that. There's going to be times where it's like, especially in games where I am prioritizing winning in this game, somebody's going to get the shaft that game. Somebody's going to be not going. Somebody's not going to be having a strong game. It is what it is. And then
that's that being fair, being equal. There's a fair, equal means everybody gets a chance. Fair means when it's crunch time, this person deserves to play.
Yeah, and I think it's important too about like giving your coach a little bit of and just to be clear again, like I'm not getting inundated by like parent complaints. That's not what this is. Like I'm actually just I'm really reflecting on how challenging it is to be in the position as a coach, particularly if you're not a full-time coach. Because I'm sitting like yesterday, like we were up and back to Toronto for 2 games, one on Saturday, one on Monday, which is like a random Monday. I got to drive up there and I'm driving. It's like I can't do other things to like prepare for the game that I would like to do. I can't cut as much video as I would want to cut. I want to sit and do individual video meetings with my guys as much as I possibly can, but just time does not allow. Time does not allow. So it's frustrating when I know how much I want to do and how much I care and all that stuff, but that it's not ever going to be enough. That people are going to be carving you no matter which way it goes and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like having a little bit of grace when you're dealing with your coach or whatever. It's important to keep that in mind because it could give you some balance when you're approaching your kid's year or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
well, like just speaking as a parent, like last year and every year, like you're watching your kids. So like, you just want it's not like you have to win, but like when you're on a slide and you see things going south and stuff, you just, as a parent, you're sitting up here watching in a 6,000 seat arena, watching how easy it would be to fix this and this. No, really. Easy. I just make that trade, do this, do this. Obviously, we need a goalie. Obviously, we need a bigger D. Obviously, yeah. What's the plan, right? So at the end of the day, the team has a plan. Like I use my kid for example, right? The team has a plan, and it's bigger than my kid. Truly bigger than my kid. Although my kid's so included in a lot of the decisions, right? Which is really nice. But at the end of the day, you find out, or you get a glimpse, or maybe a conversation of what the team is doing. You go, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So calm down. It's going to be fine, And at the end of the day, the player, your player, has to play. So that's what I was saying about my kid last year, right? He was on, a bottom feeder team because they sold everything, like they were selling everything off, and they were rebuilding a team. And it was like there was nights where I'm going, "Ah, you poor son of a bitch." Like, really, like, I mean, you did everything you could today, and it's just, there was a bad goal or just like a rookie turnover, and you lost in overtime, whatever, and you did everything. You laid it all on the line, son, and you hope that it get recognized, and it did by his team, by the league, by the NHL. So you just have to do your part, and that's all you can do. And last, if it doesn't work out today, it might work out tomorrow.
So yeah, for sure. And I think flipping it to the coaches now a little bit. This is why I value so much the communicating part. And like I said, everybody has their own styles. This is just for me. It's like I'm very open and upfront about what I think and what I'm trying to do, and answering questions and engaging with the players, the families, whether it's meetings or whatever. Because I remember vividly what it's like being the player, and then what it's like having parents that are also asking questions. Like, I vividly remember this. So I say this so much, but as a coach, don't forget. And if you haven't played, it makes it harder because you don't actually you don't have the memory to remember because you didn't play. But try to keep yourself in that spot of, this is what it was like when I was a player. Like, I remember being confused. I remember being disappointed. I remember, sitting the bench and not knowing what my coach thinks, and those factors, and how much that actually affects you. Like, I remember how much that would affect me on the day to day. And that's why I always opt so much for communicating with the players. As an example, I've had the same lines with my team until Monday. So we lost on Saturday, and I didn't need to change the lines really. But I was like, you know what? It's been a couple months now. Maybe we just lost the game. Like, maybe it's a good time to just throw a change and give guys a little opportunity to play with other guys, because there's some guys for sure that are just not happy with their line. And there's other guys that are really happy with their line and they don't want to change. But these guys do want to change. And I have 20 guys to try to balance, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw a change at them. Lines in a blender for this game, and they're not gonna know it's coming because we had one game and then we didn't have practice, we didn't have any meetings in between or anything. So I showed up to the rink and lines were in a blender. But I know, because I try to get to know my players as individuals. I know which guys might take that as, yeah, like this, I'm on a worse line, or I'm playing with worse players, or whatever it is. So before the game, I took those kids who I think may think that, and maybe I'm wrong, but just to cover my ass, basically, is what it's for. I take them out and I say, this is why I'm doing this. Don't take it as a negative. I need you to drive this line. I want to try to get this kid going. I want to try to get this kid going and see if they can get them contributing a little bit more. So I need you to be the driver for this line, not you've done a bad job and now you're demoted, right? And that maybe it was 25 seconds that I addressed them, but I know as a player, because I remember how that would go such a long way for me as a player. And then when they go home and it's the car ride home with mom or dad, and they're like, well, how come you're playing with this kid now? And they changed the lines and they didn't say anything. Or they're asking questions about, in a positive way, how come you're playing with this kid now? What happened? They have an answer. They can say, instead of just, I don't know what my coach thinks, he hates me and I suck. Like, it's not that. It's, oh, he said, right? So I think that's the flip side for the coaches. So that's kind of like, I guess the major challenge for people that haven't coached, haven't been behind the bench, and don't really know the different dynamics that are back there. Like, that's a little bit of a maybe look into the mindset, at least from me personally. Like, these are my own personal thoughts of just like some of the major like challenges that can come up. And then not to mention, like, if you're in a year like the draft year or something like that, where it's like everything is just heightened to the max because everyone thinks it's like the most important thing of all time, and it's such a small percentage. I was like, what do you think the actual percentages of the AAA kids that get drafted? Like, of how many? I don't
Well,
even know.
I don't know what the percentage is, but you're better in math. So
There's got to be like thousands of AAA kids
well, that's what I'm saying.
in Ontario,
Just Ontario.
Michigan,
Well, yeah, but like
that are draft eligible
yeah,
for the OHL.
and there's
or
230 picks,
right?
so the percentages aren't good,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. The percentages
They're not good at all,
right?
but yeah, they're not good at all. Like, and then this is just the OHL, not just the OHL, but this is the OHL. We're not talking the NHL. The OHL, like that's, you still got to get drafted. Is just getting drafted. That means that, you know, the Windsor Spitfires picked you as a potential player to maybe play for their team one day. It doesn't mean anything other than that. And then to play one game, some people, that's not some people, most people never get that. To play one full year is like, most people don't do that.
So do you feel like there's anything that maybe, again, for the parents, that maybe they think their coach should be doing that would just be like overkill? That's like, you don't need to necessarily be doing that, or your coach, you shouldn't necessarily have this expectation as like, so I guess
Like from a parent?
yeah, when I'm a parent and I'm judging my kid's coach, basically, right? Because that's what you do.
Here's when you should judge. Here's honestly when you should judge. When your coach comes in with zero plan for the season, that he's basically walking on a cliff and he's just almost, you know what I mean? He's such a mess. Like, he's so oblivious of life that if one wrong step, he's falling off a cliff. If he comes to the game and he's smoking a dart, or he's hammered, if he's wearing jeans on the ice in a practice, if he can't communicate one thing and he's just a bad person, or if he doesn't have any idea of hockey, that's where you say, okay, I need to get out of here. But other than that, like, what do you want? I mean, being honest, I don't know what you want. Like, after that, you're probably going to have some sort of a breakout, some sort of a system. And if you don't, then yeah, I would say, like, if there's nothing, it's not the end of the world. Just go play that. Go have fun. Like, that's the way I would look at it. If my son was in Pee Wee, or I don't know what they call it now, U12, U13, and like, okay, let me qualify this. First of all, if my son wasn't the best or second best player on the team, he wouldn't be playing AAA. I would not put him there. So that's number one. So that's maybe, I know there'll be comments for that, but I would not do it. Go be good somewhere else. So in that case, if he's number one or two on the team and the coach doesn't have a clue and he says, just go play, I'd say, go play. Have fun. This is going to be great, because now you can have the puck and do whatever you want. Skate it, move it, be creative, do whatever. Like, and it's not a bad thing. Back check and finish your hits. Like, make sure you do that shit. Just play with your heart. It's not the worst thing you could do. Now, I wouldn't want that every year, because you want to have some sort of team structure, but
As you get a little bit older.
As you get older, yeah. But like, yeah, whatever.
But so I guess my thing is, now that I've been a couple months into my third year now with like the U18 group, I'm just like, I'm reflecting a lot on what it actually, like, what being a good coach for the level that you're at, like, what does that actually mean? Right now that I'm actually really getting a lot of good experience with good players, and like kids that are drafted or have been drafted, can get drafted, can move on, will move on. And it actually affects their future and where they're going to go and what they're going to do. And
but I think the touch points there is individual feedback is where it makes the most sense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, you're coaching the team, the X's and O's are one thing, the positivity or the communication's another, and all that stuff. You're getting the most, you're squeezing the work ethic and all that stuff. Those are the things, those are the most important things. And then for me, after that, it would be like, does that kid walk away? And this is what I think is really important, is like, when you're coaching, are you coaching for you, which you see a lot? If you coach like the coach himself, are you coaching for you and for you to get somewhere, or for you to say, I won, I did this, I think this, I? Or are you coaching for them, and you made that kid a better player, that kid a better player, that kid, was having a bad year, month, life, and you made that a better place. So I think every possibility that you have a chance to talk to a kid, just like a small, doing good, let's work on this, feedback that way. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes long. That's to me where that's the bonus, communicating that way.
Yeah, I think for the reason I wanted to talk about this was for that. Like, I guess two things from the coach's perspective, just maybe sharing my own thoughts about it, making sure you're handling that role with responsibility because you are in such a powerful position for the group that you are coaching, right? You have a lot of influence over what happens to those kids, what happens to those families, what experience they're going to walk away with, and how it shapes their attitude moving on to other things. So having that, maybe sharing some of my mindset could be helpful. And then the other from the parent side is just having reasonable expectations when you're at the younger levels and your coach is not just a full-time coach, particularly if your coach is not just a full-time coach. Like, the amount of effort, attention, detail, all that stuff, just it can't be as high as you would optimally want because it's not optimal. They're not just focused on hockey coaching your 13 or 15-year-old or whatever their whole day every day. So having a little bit of perspective when you're engaging, giving the feedback, thinking about the position that your kid is in. And because a lot of times too, it's like the grass isn't always greener if you go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because
no, it's not necessarily.
Every place is basically the same, right? Every organization, like I like to think that for us, our way of doing things is a little bit different and we're offering something a little bit unique because it's a newer model, right? We have a little bit more resources at our disposal so we can get better quality, staff and all that stuff, which is fine. But like most AAA organizations are basically the same. Like they basically have the same processes. They have the same way of doing things. And there are certain more established AAA organizations that more of the good players just go there. It's not because their organization is way better or their coach is way better or whatever. It's like, that's what I think about with me this year. It's like, I'm the same coach as I was last year. Like, I think the same things. I teach the same way. I prefer the same systems. I have the same philosophy. My players on my team this year are just better than the players that I had last year. It just is what it is. So my team this year could be a top team in Ontario because the kids are good. It's not because I'm like the best coach, right? Whereas last year, our team did very poorly. And I think I deserved to have a better outcome because I think I'm a better coach than what we showed with our team last year. But it's the guys that I had. It's the players that are actually going out and playing the game that are really going to shape the success. It's not me, and most organizations are going to be the same kind of thing, So until you get to the pro levels where it's like everybody's amazing and now it turns into like the chess game where the coaching actually is significant because it can win you and lose you games. At our level, it's just not that significant. It's not that it means nothing, but it's just not that significant. So I don't know. That was my thoughts going into the first episode back, just coming out of the last like couple months, coaching and stuff like that. Anything else to add on that? Do you have any other thoughts? You have a lot written down there.
Well, I got lots of thoughts,
Anything else you want to go into, or good to go?
Here's I'll leave on this. Not that it's earth shattering. Leave on this is like overcoaching is a thing, over barking is a thing. I find that's an easy way to go. Is like because you get frustrated with the kids. Really, as a coach, you get frustrated with the kids because you just like the simple things that you expect on an everyday basis, like work hard, listen, stuff like that can drive you nuts. When you see things not, like the little things slipping, that's where coaches lose their shit. The next side of it is that if you're not aware of it, you could be barking all the time. When you're barking all the time, just think about it, right? If I walked into work every day and you were like, this, you didn't do this and this and this, and you just like all day, just like everything, every time I heard from you was like a negative horse shit. I'd just be like, can you just leave, man? Like, I can't wait. Like, call in sick tomorrow, please. I don't want to see your face, right?
Yeah.
It's the same with the kids and a coach. It's like, if you're always that miserable, especially in youth hockey, like, come on, man, there's got to be some fun. And you can't be barking and be like that all the time. And so I just put yourself in that situation. You want to be in a situation where someone's barking at you all the time and just always something wrong or always something, guys aren't doing anything right. And not saying that they are doing everything right, but pick your spots a little bit, right? So like, because kids are going to make mistakes, 100%. You know,
They're going to make the same mistakes.
they're going to say NHL players make the same mistakes. Like it is what it is. It's a game of mistakes, and that's another thing. Is like hockey is everybody in practices. You want it to be perfect, and you want everything to be executed perfectly. But like it's literally a game of mistakes. It actually is a game of mistakes. So
Very good. Well, we're back. See you guys next week.